Hey, welcome to the Closing Beat, everybody. Happy Tuesday, by the way. It's Tuesday. This is the Closing Beat quick stock market update show that we do to go over the stock market. So let's do it, right? Financial advisors here at Jazz Wealth. Hope you'll check us out there. By the way, no show on Friday. Bit of a mini vacation plan there. Going to ride some roller coasters at Cedar Point because they're only open a couple days. So I'm going to take advantage of that. Anyways, let's dive into what's going on. So no show Friday, you got that. Take a look at the stock market off to the right. The Dow basically did a whole lot of nothing today. The S&P 500 finished up a touch, and the Nasdaq was your best performer out of the group there. What happened? If we go over to the charts and take a look, you've got, well, let's start with the Dow. So you got the Dow a little bit quiet here, choppy, right? The last couple days we've been mentioning, hey, it's going to be choppy in here. Careful, that's what's going to happen. It is what's happening. It's kind of cool to actually be taught a lesson than actually see it happen. I thought it was pretty cool anyways. So you got the Dow there nice and quiet. Don't expect a whole lot going into the early part of tomorrow. Volume about half of what it normally has been. And so that's what you have going on there. We got the Fed meeting coming up, so people are waiting for that. You got the S&P doing the same thing, chopping between a wider range. That's a large, it's a big range overall, 34 and a quarter all the way down here to 3,300. That's a big range for the S&P to be chopping around in. And if you saw what happened kind of like throughout the day today, it was trying to sell off a little bit, ended up finishing with just a small gain there. That's just indecision. We don't know what to expect with the Fed coming up there. Volume was basically average, depending on how far back you look. A little bit below average if you're looking in the ultra short term there. If you look at the S&P there, second best performing sector here today, Apple, that sell the news streak continues. So I've mentioned how when Apple has these events where they launch new watches and things like they did today, you have this this sort of mentality of sell into that news. It's kind of what happened today, although it did finish up a little tiny fraction of a percent. I believe it was up about 3% to start the day. So the typical pattern for Apple selling on those days continues there. In the S&P, the REITs were some of your leaders today. This whole mindset of the economy slowly reopening, maybe it's not so exciting on TV, but people are slowly getting out there, getting back to work, spending money, shopping, getting their kids, hopefully back to school little by little. And so the reopening type REITs, I guess, if you want to call it that, have started to sort of wake up. Simon Property Group being one of them there. You can imagine how they're affected. They have malls and retail shopping centers and such. You got that going on. SL Green, same thing. I don't know if this is the bottom in here, but you're seeing those wake up. And so REITs were one of the better performing areas overall in the mix there. I'll go to the Nasdaq real quick. 1.6% gain on the day. Wide chop zone. Expect that to continue here going into tomorrow. Really, some of the gains today, thanks in part to Tesla. I think that was the biggest contributor to the gains in the Nasdaq today. Another 7% gain. That's $30. Looking good there for Tesla. Biotechs also did well if you follow them. I don't follow them a lot, but you had Alexion up there hitting new highs. Algen's one that I've been sort of teasing you guys about, making a big profit, hitting new 52-week highs, mentioned it numerous times there. That one did well today, and Moderna, I think was the other one. Yeah. Nice little recovery, another 5%. So that was one of the areas of the Nasdaq that helped out today, looking pretty good there. And then if you go over to the Russell 2000, just look kind of quiet. It's a small up day, overall chopping around in a different sort of range there, still down year to date. So that's what you have there. FinTips videos, we got a lot of good ones coming out. Got between this week and next week. Yesterday we had the earnings stats that were coming out for today. FedEx, Adobe, things that we'll cover in a little bit, and why we point those things out. Tomorrow you've got IRS updates. Some new guidance that they have for traditional IRAs there to take a look at. And Friday, we're going to do a real simple how-to financial planning. Like, how do you figure out what to talk about, what to focus on, what to start thinking about, how many dollars you're going to put to and stuff. So we're doing that. Thursday, for our customers, we are still doing Wine and Wealth. We are going to be doing Nest Egg, going over some of the planning tricks and things that you can do inside the software, as well as some updates. There's been a handful of updates we'll go over. And our research site, by the way, Cody's got a cool post out there about September sector performance, and I'm working on a stock market performance around based on who's the president is and how things are going there to get kind of detailed with that. That's all I got there. Let's go over to the sector breakdown, take a look and see what's going on for the day. Okay, yesterday we had a little disconnect. We said, okay, the communication services were not participating with the tech sector. Today, that turned around. They both are starting to work together, largely thanks to Facebook starting to participate, and Alphabet, GOOGL is a ticker symbol. Slight gain there. That helped the communication services move higher today with the tech sector. And it's good because those two stocks make up basically 40% of the XLC, if you're looking at that. Tech stocks a little bit higher off the 50-day moving average, continuing to look good. Trying to recovery bounce here. Inside the tech sector, you have semiconductors. It's not a sector, it's just part of the industry there. That stood out as one of the bigger gainers here today. And I got a 2% gain overall. That's going to be because of Taiwan Semiconductors. Very cool little breakout for them. This is the largest holding inside the SMH, and has been for some time, and got a lot of attention today. So you got the 6% gain overall on that one, looking good. The 200-day moving average bounces that we talked about last week, finally starting to wake up there. You got CLAC coming off the 200-day. AMAT, even though it broke below, oh, this wasn't the one. It was LRCX. That was the other one we talked about there. Needed the bounce. We gave you the stats plays on that one there. That one did play out, so I can get rid of this line. The semiconductors just started waking up today, and largely because of Taiwan Semiconductors. Anyways, moving on. Financials, you don't like to see it rolling over like this, trying to make a lower high than the previous high. So even though it was lagging behind, it was making new highs and higher lows. New high, higher low, new high, oh, close, but a higher low. And now it's starting to roll over again. You don't like to see that if you're a financial investor in that space there, but it's early to tell. Very choppy. It's been one of those Christmas tree type sectors here lately. But here's the cool part. Where was the strength? You guys remember, God, I did a whole class on it. I think I did a whole FinTips videos on, if you look at the financial sector, break it down into pieces, where's all the excitement? And at the time we said the exchanges, right? You could very clearly see the exchanges. We did it here on the show, actually. Well, if we go inside the financials, where was all the excitement here today? Guess where? The exchanges. They were the best performing areas in the mix there. S&P Global higher, CME Group. Now, these are not great stocks, right? This is just where the money's going. Intercontinental Exchange, all very good there. And MSCI, 1% as well. These have taken a break here recently, but that's where the outperformance was in the financial sector today. Pretty cool. Real estate. Is it waking up? It keeps hinting at a little bit of a breakout here. It's up over 2% in the last 5 days. That's the second best performing sector over the last 5 days, by the way. The excitement's coming in. Prologis, we already mentioned that one there yesterday. Crown Castle had a good day again today. So people are focusing on the stocks that have already done well in this area and adding or starting new positions there. If you use something like the ICF, this is another ETF to track the real estate sector. Slight difference between the two there, but that one also hinting at maybe waking up. And I would say that utilities are kind of in the same boat. They're teasing it, waking up. They just can't get it done there. Nothing really yet, so I won't spend any time on that one. We'll move on over to basic materials. This is your best sector over the last 5 days there. So this basic materials the best, real estate being the second. This is the sector that I was kind of honing in on the other day to say, it's boring. I get it. There's no real like rock star kind of company out there with a cool CEO that drives a cool car. But a lot of these stocks are actually outperforming names like Apple, Microsoft, things like that. So we broke down a few of those stocks for you. Not so boring now, huh? You got basic materials hitting new highs there. And of course, we went over those stocks. Remember, one of them was Dow. Went over a bunch of them, I think, but Dow is still outperforming Apple and Microsoft. Look back over 6 months, it's doing much better than those there. And by the way, Dow yields over 5%. So you got over a 5% yield, a stock that's beating your growth, well, I don't know, you'd say growth stocks, but beating the recent growth stocks there. So look through the basic materials if you're looking for new opportunity there. I'll just go to a couple others real quick. Emerging markets, if you like that, you can use the EEM to take a look at that sort of thing. Almost about making new highs, so pretty cool there. Hinting at that. That's going to be because of your really good move here in NEO, looking pretty sweet there. Other Chinese names doing well, like JD.com recently. Baba, those are Alibaba. Those are the things moving to new highs. Even Baidu, you got waking up there. That's helping out your emerging markets. I use the EEM to track that if you're interested in taking a look at that. And lastly, metals and mining. The XME, I thought that kind of stood out a little bit. Broad rally here today, trying to break out. You've got just a couple things. You got your Schnitzer starting to make a little bit of a move there, and I thought WOR, Worthington is the stock, WOR is the ticker symbol, that pullback in here, getting a little bit of a bounce. I don't know, kind of interesting there. So we'll move on to the new highs, new lows for the day. There we are. Okay, new highs, new lows. You got 21 of the new highs here today. I think all but 3 of them finished higher. So Good. That's awesome. We'll go through a few stocks here. A couple that stick out. FMC hinting at a new little breakout there. It's messy, but maybe a new breakout. If you look at Steris, we've looked at this a couple times. It refused to break out. Now it's back at highs there. You got a long base, a long boring base since about May to try to keep your attention there. That one looking good. I'll point out Algin again. I know it's no Tesla or NEO or whatever, but it's performing well. They have fundamentals are strong. The company's obviously strong. The stock's strong, so got that one going for it. And CHRW, we just talked about this one there. Very strong one, been a consistently strong one. Great day today. It's a transport stock looking good. Speaking of transports, look at UNP. Actually, on the new high, new low list today was many of the rails, if not all of them. So you might take a look at some of those. That stands out. And that's what we have overall for our new highs, new lows. I don't have a lot to cover there, right? I mean, there's just not a lot to say. So let's use this opportunity and talk about maybe a little bit of a watch list. I don't know. We're going to test something out here and see what you think about this. Got some stocks on the list there. Sometimes when you're looking for a stock to invest in or trade or do whatever, you have to ask yourself what you're looking for. And we've gone over this in our trading plans video with customers. We've gone over this in our wine and wealth classes and things. What do you want to find? So when you ask in the comment section, wherever it's at today, when you watch and you say, hey, Dustin, what do you think of this stock or this stock? Well, what? What are we looking for? And so that's what I want to focus on today. I just randomly thought of an idea last night and said, okay, let's just break that down how you find it. What I thought of was I want to find the highest yielding stocks that are closest to making new highs, which means they've bounced, they're not sitting down there at lows, and I want the lowest volatile stocks. 3 criteria. Right? So imagine you came to me, you come to Jazz Wealth and you say, this is what I want. Can you do it for me? I want the highest yielding stocks closest to their highs, so I want performers, and I want the lowest volatility you can put together. So that's what we did. Looking at the list off to the right, that's just a handful of them there, but what I'm going to do is pop up a list here for you. This is the highest yielding S&P 500 stocks closest to or after today, some may be over highs like CHRW, closest to their 52-week highs, and we ranked them in a way where we could see, do they fit the criteria? So here we go. First one, you got Expeditors, okay? And I also highlighted the sector as well. Basically what you're looking at, you got the stock, you got the name of the company, in case you want to know what that is. The sector that it's in, I highlighted industrials because a lot of those are in that sector. Put the market cap so you get an idea of the size of the company, just in case we found that there was something unique there. We could have highlighted that, but nothing really important. We could block that out. We've got the yield. Keep in mind, these stocks are near their highs, so they're not going to be the highest yielding stocks in the S&P. That's not the name of the game. We want the highest yielding with 2 other criteria. So we got the highest yielding. I put the year-to-date returns in there because I wanted to see which ones were the strongest, which ones are performing above average for the entire S&P 500 there. So we got that. We've got volatility. Any one that's shaded here and green is below average in terms of volatility. So over here with yield, anything that you see shaded like CHRW is above average. And if we go down to the bottom here, the average is 1.4 for the top 25. So anything that's shaded in green is naturally above 1.4 is what you'll see. Year-to-date returns, anything that's above average of the 17.13, that's what we showed there. If you go to volatility, anything that's below average, right? Reverse that one because we want volatility lower. So anything below average, which was 2.16, gets highlighted as well. And then what we did is we said, how far from their 52-week highs are they? And that's how we rank them. So we want the ones that are closest. Now, naturally, this was last night. CHRW is already at new 52-week highs now, but this is the list. Okay, so now what we're looking for is the closest to 52-week highs with the lowest volatility and the highest yield. So we've got this box, CHRW, good. It's above average yield, below average volatility, and close to, if not at 52-week highs, right? So as you're looking through the list, where can you find the same thing here? You wouldn't do this one, right? Danaher, close to 52-week highs, below average volatility, but not anything exciting in terms of yield. It's not yielding anything that's even average, so we wouldn't look at that one. And so what you could do is slowly say, okay, tell, above average yield, below average volatility, close to, if not at, new 52-week highs. And that's a quick way to put together a list of, it maybe, a lot of these aren't going to fit. You're not going to do anything with it, right? You got something like News Corp, you're saying below average yield, right? Above average volatility, but it's close to highs. That only meets one of our criteria. That's not going to work there. So this is the list. I put some of them off to the right-hand side, and I wanted to show you how I created it, how I thought of it. I don't know that this is the best way to invest, but this gives you some list to then start digging into and going, well, you know what? I don't really like the industrial sector, so I'll highlight those and take them all out. Or you know what? I don't do healthcare. I don't do market cap less than 10 billion. I don't do yield of less than 1%, or whatever it is. You now have a list you can filter very quickly, and that's really the name of the game, because ultimately, if you sit down to try to find something in the stock market, you're going to get sidetracked, right? We all do. I probably spent an hour on this because I was like, ooh, look over here. Look at this. How can I make it better? So you got to have things that you want. We put those three things in there: highest yield, closest to highs, and lowest volatility. Hope you find that helpful. That was just something different, a little bit more geeky to look at, and hope you enjoyed it. Okay. Lastly, we'll do the stocks in the news. Then I'll take your questions there. Here we go. Where do we go? Charts. Okay, Apple had their event today. Sell on the news. We already talked about that. It was down just a little bit. Their launch day for the new watch. They got new services for fitness and everything. So good for them. Stock was a little bit lower. Just thought I'd point that out. You got Carnival Cruise in the mix. Shares were down 10% on the day. They're doing they're doing $1 billion stock offering. They got to sell shares. They need the dough, right? So apparently that's what's going on there. It's not good to see. Kraft Heinz, volatile day for Kraft Heinz, typically not one. Kraft Heinz is going to be cutting their costs by about $2 billion. They're going to be getting rid of their worst brands and things like Oscar Mayer. They're going to try to beef them up a little bit, make them a little more profitable. So good news overall. The stock was just wildly volatile today. You look at Walmart today. They officially announced their Walmart Plus. We kind of already knew that, but they officially came out there. Some membership service that you can participate in with Walmart Plus, $98 or something like that, if you're interested in that. The SEC says they will be looking into, or are already asking questions to Nikola about some of their things that they've maybe told the public. You want to show us how accurate that is? So looking into that, the stock was down 8%. Expect that volatility to continue. This is an unfolding sort of drama story there, and that's what you get overall. CVS, real quick, I'll point out, working on new lows. And sorry. Let's look at Walgreens. It's holding up. Okay, CVS getting a little bit weaker there. Full year earnings, they said, is going to be at the low end of our estimates there. They're giving you a heads up on their earnings. Stock sold off on that. FedEx comes out with earnings after hours. 9% higher. Good for them. Okay. FedEx trading at $258, which is off the charts there. That's 9% reporting their earnings. That's going to be a gap up reversal type. If that stays that way, careful. Just careful on that one. That's one the day traders like to come in and short based on how it's gapping there. So let's see what happens with FedEx tomorrow. If it gaps up, I bet you see it bleed off just a little bit with what they've got going on there. And that's it. So Prologis, by the way, paying out 58 cents in dividends. And next week, we've got a couple names taken over in the S&P 500, which we've covered. Etsy, Teledyne, or Teradyne, and I forget whoever else it was. Let's see what questions you have. If you have any, I'll take your questions, and then we'll get out there. Good. Yeah, Dr. Horton got the joke. Worked all day on that beefing up joke, man. I'm glad somebody noticed it. Adobe did report after hours as well. I did miss that one. You got two. It's up $10 after hours, 2% on their earnings there. Nice. I love it. SEC should have been looking into this episode weeks, if not months ago. No, we don't break the rules here, man. We don't break and if we break the rules, you notice the video goes away. It disappears. Very careful about that. If you have a 3 to 5 year outlook on a stock, does technical analysis matter? Well, maybe when you enter the stock. I mean, you might have a stock that is performing well or earning, like let's say Algen. You go, okay, so they're making good money there. I want to buy it, but specifically, where do I want to buy it? You could use technical analysis for that, sure. If it's already up like 25 days in a row and it's way overextended, you would look at a chart and say, all right, let me hold off a minute, and that would be technical analysis, yeah. What's the FOMC decision? I don't know what they're going to decide, but most people believe, and I would say you could look up the Fed rate futures to see. I think it's almost 100% certain they are not going to change rates tomorrow. So they've said that already. They've kind of made that clear. If there are fraud charges on Nikola, would it be halted? Not necessarily because of the charges. Because of the news of the charges, yes, it would be halted by default. But not just you can be accused of fraud or charged with fraud and going through the process, and the stock can still trade. But the news pending that could happen, you see the stock get halted. Yeah. You through the video debunking. I've never done a video debunking Dave Ramsey, which of course it wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't actually debunking it either. I was actually just going through to say, let's look at all the different things that is suggested. Let's look at all the top performing funds there. And the one comment that kills me on that one is people think I picked funds that were 20 years or older. That was just the criteria. They had to be at least 20 years old or older, so that way I couldn't pick funds that had one good year that were 5 years old. I don't know how that one got mistaken there, but I've seen a few of those comments. I'm like, you weren't paying attention. And how do you nicely tell somebody, rewatch the video and come back and let me know what you saw? I love it, man. I like the videos. I like that you're watching the videos. I appreciate the support there. The rate question, yeah, I think you're spot on there, Dr. Horton. It's just, there's not going to be a rate change tomorrow. I don't think they're going north, and I don't think they're going south. I think the prediction, the Fed futures, I think they're pricing in 2 years from now for any even rate hike. It's not coming up. Yeah. I love it. Well, it seems like you guys are in the same boat. Stock market is kind of sitting there waiting, focused on some earnings and everything. We'll be waiting for the Fed decision tomorrow. It'll provide for some interest, some excitement, some short-term volatility. So we will check it out. In the meantime, I'll wish you guys a great rest of your day, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching. Enjoy.